Rip_Indra respawns in exactly 30 minutes. And nobody told you. That one number just broke every spawn rotation guide on YouTube. Most Blox Fruits players just show up to a boss spawn, kill it, and then stand there waiting. No plan, no rotation, just vibing and hoping it respawns fast. I did the same thing for way too long. Then I actually sat down with a timer and clocked every single major boss in all 3 Cs. The difference between a bad rotation and an optimized one is over 40 minutes of wasted time per hour. That is not a small number. So in this video, I am going to show you the exact Blox Fruits boss spawn timer for every boss that matters. Build the fastest Blox Fruits spawn rotation possible, and prove why Blox Fruits boss farming without this knowledge is basically throwing time in the trash. Before we get into it, quick breakdown of how I tested this. I played on a private server to remove variables like other players stealing kills or resetting the timer. I used a real stopwatch, not an estimate. I ran each boss a minimum of 5 times and averaged the results. I tested Cursed Captain in the first C, Soul Reaper and Island Empress in the second and third C, Cake Queen at the Sea of Treats, and Rip_Indra at the Hydra Island area. I also checked whether player count on the server affected timers, because I had heard that theory before. Results on that one actually surprised me. Let us get into the numbers. Starting with Cursed Captain. This is the first sea boss that spawns at the cursed ship, which floats around the sea randomly. He is level 1000 and drops the Pole V2 sword, which used to be one of the best swords for early grinders before Update 17 reworked the sword tier list. His spawn is also tied to the ship location resetting, which is why a lot of players think the timer is inconsistent. It is not. After killing Cursed Captain, the actual respawn window is 15 minutes flat. Every single run I tested came back between 14 minutes 50 seconds and 15 minutes 10 seconds. That is incredibly consistent. The confusion comes from the ship moving. If you kill him and leave the area, you lose track of where the ship drifts, and when you come back it looks like he is not there. He is. The ship just moved. The fix is simple. After killing him, stay on the ship. Just stand there and kill NPCs for fragments while you wait. In 15 minutes he is back. The drop rate for Pole V2 sits around 10% per kill, so you need roughly 10 runs for a guaranteed drop statistically. At 15 minutes per run, that is about 2.5 hours for the sword if you are unlucky. But if you are just farming fragments in First C, Cursed Captain is actually one of the most efficient Blox Fruits boss farming targets at this level range. Fast timer, predictable location if you stay put, decent fragment payout. Moving into Second C, and this is where things start getting more interesting. Soul Reaper spawns at the Haunted Castle, which is one of the most iconic locations in all of Blox Fruits. He is level 2000, has around 750,000 health, and hits extremely hard with his scythe attacks. His spawn timer tested at 20 minutes. Clean. Consistent. Every run came back within a 25-second variance. Now here is something most guides skip. Soul Reaper has 2 phases. Phase 2 triggers when he drops below 40% health, and he summons ghost minions that can genuinely mess you up if you are not using a fruit with area denial. Shadow Fruit works perfectly here because the dimensional/X move clears the minions instantly. If you are running a sword build without a fruit, bring Superhuman Fighting Style because the Z move hits multiple targets. The actual reason Soul Reaper matters for Blox Fruits boss farming is the Hallow Scythe drop. It has a roughly 5% drop rate, and Hallow Scythe is a core piece of the Halloween event tier gear that still holds up in PvP in 3rd C. 20 minutes per run, 5% drop rate. That is on average a 6.5 hour grind for the Scythe. But here is the thing, Soul Reaper is perfectly timed to chain with Island Empress, and that is where your spawn rotation starts to actually pay off. Wait until you see how tight that pairing is. Island Empress, 3rd C boss. She spawns at the Great Tree on Floating Turtle Island, and she is level 2075. Her timer tested at exactly 20 minutes as well. Same as Soul Reaper. And that is the key. Because Floating Turtle Island and the Haunted Castle are close enough that with Pole V2 speed or a Leopard Fruit dash you can travel between them in under 90 seconds. That means you can kill Soul Reaper, fly to Island Empress, kill her, and then rotate back. Both timers are running in parallel. You are not waiting for one boss and doing nothing. You are doubling your output in the same time window. Island Empress drops the Conjured Cocoa, which is used in crafting several 3rd C items, and she also has a 10% chance to drop the random physical drop that feeds into the Venom Fruit Awakening material chain. That alone makes her one of the highest value targets in 3rd C for material grinding. Her moveset uses a plant and nature theme with vine grabs and root slams. The root slams are telegraphed, so with Kin Haki or Instinct active you can dodge them cleanly. If you are a Dragon Race user with Kin Haki V2 unlocked, you can practically stand still through her entire kit. The Island Empress and Soul Reaper pairing is the foundation of any serious Blox Fruits spawn rotation in the 3rd C. And it gets even better when you add the next boss into the chain. Cake Queen at the Sea of Treats. She is a level 2175 boss and the main target for players grinding the Sweet Sword or the Kilo Awakening materials. Her spawn timer is 30 minutes. That is the longest timer of any boss I tested that is not a raid boss or server event. 30 minutes. And most players just sit there at Sea of Treats waiting. That is the single worst thing you can do. 30 minutes of sitting is 30 minutes of 0 fragments, 0 drops, 0 XP. The optimal play is to use that 30-minute window to run the Soul Reaper and Island Empress pair once each, which each take 20 minutes on their own timers, and then return to Cake Queen right as she respawns. You basically get 3 boss kills in the time it used to take you to get 1. Now about Cake Queen herself. She drops the Kanvander sword at roughly a 5% rate. Kanvander is a Z-move sword that deals massive damage and scales well into 3rd C PvP builds. She also drops cake fragments that are used to craft the Rabbit Hood accessory, which gives a movement speed boost that stacks with Ghoul Race V4. If you are running a Ghoul Race build with Dough Fruit, the Rabbit Hood plus Ghoul V4 passive gives you one of the fastest movement speeds in the game without using fruit abilities. The Cake Queen timer being 30 minutes sounds brutal, but it is actually a gift, because it forces you to build a rotation instead of sitting idle. Section 5 is where the whole rotation clicks together, and the Rip_Indra timer is the piece that ties everything. Rip_Indra, the boss that every 3rd C player knows, and the one with the most myths around his spawn timer. I have seen people say 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 45 minutes, even hour-long timers on different servers. Here is the actual number from my testing. Rip_Indra respawns in 30 minutes on a standard public server. Consistently. The myth that his timer varies comes from 2 things. First, other players killing him while you are mid-rotation and resetting the clock without you knowing. Second, some servers have desync issues where the boss model appears but has no hitbox for a few minutes after spawn, so players assume he is not there yet. On a private server with no interference, it is 30 minutes every single time. Rip_Indra drops the Leviathan Heart and the random chance add Dark Dagger, which is one of the rarer and more sought after sword drops in 3rd C. He also has the highest fragment payout of any non-raid boss in the game, sitting at roughly 3,500 fragments per kill, depending on server bonuses. His fight uses gravity-style attacks and a ground slam that deals about 35% of your max health if it connects without instinct dodge. With Electric Claw fighting style, you can interrupt his Phase 2 animation using the X-move combo, which saves about 20 seconds per fight. Now, the full optimized Blox Fruits spawn rotation looks like this. Kill Rip_Indra. Start his 30-minute timer. Fly to Soul Reaper. Kill him. Start his 20-minute timer. Fly to Island Empress. Kill her. Start her 20-minute timer. Return to Cake Queen if her 30-minute window is up, or loop back to Soul Reaper for a second run. By the time you complete that full loop, Rip_Indra is back up. You are never waiting more than 2 to 3 minutes between kills. That is the fastest Blox Fruits spawn rotation in the game right now. Alright, quick recap. Cursed Captain is 15 minutes, great for 1st C fragment grinding. Soul Reaper and Island Empress are both 20 minutes and chain perfectly together. Cake Queen and Rip_Indra are both 30 minutes, and they run parallel, so you fill the gaps with the 20-minute bosses. That full rotation is the difference between farming efficiently and just standing around wasting server time. If this video saved you even 1 hour of grinding, drop a like, because that actually helps the channel reach more players. Subscribe so you do not miss the next guide, because I am testing Blox Fruits raid timers next, and those results are even more surprising than these. Comment below which boss spawn timer shocked you most. See you in the next one.